Peace and blessings to the whole house, to the book people, to the southern and the northern kingdom, aka the kingdom of the one and only, the true book people, the Israelites. Shalom to the family out there. Shalom to all of you who are watching and listening in, those that are sneak listening, and to the ops as well. Sneak listen and keep listening because you're listening to your own demise live and direct. We're going to continue on with the series that we've started on Ghana and exposing the corruption and the lies when it comes to reparations and everything that the African man and woman and child is trying to steal from the book people and what you call foundational Black Americans, ADOS, whatever acronym you want to give us, which is ultimately a byword. So I got my sister on board today. Sister Christina, go ahead and say hello, and then we'll jump right in.
Happy New Day, everyone. To the sneak listeners and to those that are actually just kind of lurking, if you're going to share the information, make sure you share it accurately. That's all I'm going to say. With the solutions, don't just share it just in and of itself for whatever reason. Share it with the solutions. To everyone else, I hope that you are thriving. I hope that you are prosperous, not only in your mind and in your body and in your life, but also in your spirit. May your spirit be prospering. And I hope that you are also staying active, right? I know that it's hot in a lot of places, but that doesn't stop everything from happening every day of the week. And we must continue to stay in pursuit. So peace and blessings to you all.
That's a great saying when you said getting the information, getting to the right hands, and then you doing something about it. So right now, this is the greatest time in history that we have the greatest power in history at our disposal. And what is that greatest power? That's the Father. The Father has given you open season on whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
And the stars, the moon, the luminaries above, their alignments declare that this is so. It's not me declaring it. It's they are declaring it is so, because it's the time that we're in. They're in perfect alignment for just this particular time. And also, as a reminder, if you go by what the book says that your ancestors were arguing amongst themselves. Not only were they arguing, but they were hoping to be in the number that would see these things coming to pass, to see the things that we're actually seeing in real time. And so you should be awake, you should be aware, and you should understand what your role is so that you can fulfill the greater works that the Father has designed for you in your individual life and your purpose. This is not about just us jumping on showing YouTubes. No, we're trying to arm the family with information so that they can move forward, not only on this reparation front. That's only one aspect of life, but for your whole life, we've been giving you intel on how you should be operating. And it's not by coincidence that it's just for this time. Not only that, but you have, according to the book, you have people that are saying, how long, oh Father? I believe that's in Revelation somewhere, where they're asking the Father to take vengeance on those who hurt his people, which is us.
Absolutely.
So never
And we
forget
should
that.
be praying. It's a righteous thing. There's a scripture that says that it is a righteous thing for the Most High to afflict those who have afflicted you, right? It is a righteous thing. And I want to say this because it often gets confused with modern teachings in psychology. We hear all the time of anger being a bad thing. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. What is indignation, right? Indignation, that righteous anger that exists for certain reasons and with certain responses. And so we should be praying for recompense, for vindication, retribution, compensation, right? Anyone that's harmed should be compensated for the harm. You can't just go around, doing things. I mean, even if a thief steals, they should repay, right? There's rules around that. And so I think that we need to be able to get in our thoughts, in our hearts, and our minds that is a righteous act to pray for vindication, for recompense, for all of the things that we've been told oh, just let it be and pray and leave it in the hands of God. No, we need to actively pursue.
Well, that's what our ancestor David did when he actively pursued by using Psalms 109 on their ass. And I evoke Psalms 109 all the time. Psalms 109 is a good prayer. When they say pray for your enemies, you should be praying for your enemies. It's absolutely true. You should be praying for your enemies. And you should do as the book say, pray without ceasing. So Psalms 109 is an appropriate prayer for your enemies. See, it's time out for you trying to understand and trying to be friends or
Right.
trying to be brothers with someone that they know that they're your sworn enemy. You cannot right now today, 2026, walk in a white church and sit in the pew without them running your black ass out of there. Point blank. You go
Brother
to
C,
right now, you'll get you might get assassinated. Go ahead.
where are the white evangelicals calling for the truth to come out about our brother Nolan that didn't come back home from the trip?
Hmm.
About the 1-year-old baby. As a matter of fact,
Hmm.
where are the people of color?
Hmm.
Okay. Have they
Hmm.
pulled up yet to ask for justice on behalf of the 1-year-old baby that was shot and killed?
Nope.
Have they said that something's not right about what happened to our little brother over there that never came home from the, whatever they're talking about, the boat and the Mississippi little island and all of that thing that's going down right now? Where
Yes.
are they at? Because they like to talk Bible, but they don't believe that their God or their Savior has any respect for us. They think that their God and their Savior looks at us like 3/5 of a human, just like they do.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why if you close your eyes and if you still see Zeus or you still see stained glass as your savior, you got something wrong with your mind. You need a Christianity mental lobotomy because we
Oh,
know that's false. Look at this comment right here. This comment: warriors must harness their anger to use it correctly. And we are a nation of warriors. That's correct. You should be warned daily and often in the spirit so that it manifests here in the physical, because that's how things work. We know the order of business is you come in the spiritual, you communicate in the spiritual, and what will happen is it'll manifest in the spiritual and then it'll manifest here in the physical. So we should be doing that using our powers on a daily. Go ahead, sis.
and that's my youngest daughter for you that are watching, and I
She
appreciate
need to
her
get
saying
saved,
it.
basically. That's what I'm telling her.
Listen, brother, see,
You need to get
listen.
saved.
She listened to one of the wise elders, and I'm not talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, by her comment, she
Mm-hmm.
took what that elder said to heart, that
Mm-hmm.
we need to be looking at
Mm-hmm.
emotions a different way, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there you guys have it from
Mm-hmm.
a 20
Mm-hmm.
year old. Say la.
Say la, so be it. All praise to the Father for giving our young stars. It seems to me, our young stars are missing some components, but it seems to me that our young stars are really the warrior class. This is what's coming upon me. In my class, my age group were the ones that were the end of the get along get along gang as we called it.
Hallelujah.
But you got some like me who are not a part of the get along gang because I got to see them growing up close and personal. I got to see the shit that they attempted to do to my father, and I saw the
Mhm.
stuff that I got to see growing up as a child. So I'm in no wise under the illusion that those people, those entities are my brother. But I could be cordial with them, and I could be cordial around them. I can be professional around them, and I can be a person that is respectful around them. But make no mistake about it, I know who my enemy is. I know who my enemies
Brother
are.
C, you
In
talking about the
Psalms
bootleg?
83. Oh, well, see, we haven't even. Okay, so
Oh,
see
okay.
now
I
you
was just
now
thinking
you
about the
now you
bootleg when
splitting
you started
hairs.
talking.
Now you now you splitting hairs. Okay, so and I'm tired of our people using this YT stuff. Just call it out for what it is. Stop using that
Right.
YT language. You know what YT means. Stop using that language. Just say it out. Just be plain. We're in the age of truth right now. The luminaries, what's happening in the stars, has everyone moving appropriately, and we're in the age of truth. So why should I pull punches? You notice that they haven't been pulling any punches. They tell you straight up what it is and what it is not. If they hate your guts,
Absolutely.
cool. Hate my guts. That's correct. I don't care that you hate my guts. I don't care about that. Just don't bring your anxieties over towards me. It's not like I'm a tough guy, nothing goofy like that. Just don't bring your anxieties over here.
My dad told me that he'd rather know where he stand with an individual than to have to figure it out on the back end, right? If you say, here's the boundary, this is what we feel about you, then we have the ability to feel something about you. That's fine.
Absolutely.
But when they're
Absolutely.
in your face shaking and faking the funk, that's a whole nother story, right? And we have to even look at ways of discerning that, like, these people are not your friends.
Yes.
Their thought process is still kill, destroy, repeat. Still kill, destroy, repeat. And so when you see that manifested in their behavior and you continue to align yourselves with them, then it must be something about your own character and about your own self that has been corrupted, because bad company corrupts good morals.
You know what? Look at the sister, and you're right. We'll look at a couple of these comments and we're gonna jump in because we got
Says
this
some
is
of us
gonna be a
haven't
schedule.
eaten Annie Lou.
Our people got jokes for whatever reason. Y'all want to be jokesters here, and that's cool. We appreciate that. That's actually rather funny.
Right.
And with that in mind, it's almost as if we tend to forget who the real enemies are. And so when we talk about white people, we tend to think that just those here in the snakes only.
Right.
But you have to keep in mind that if you have a world conquest, that means that you have all of Psalms 83 was complicit in that world conquest, i.e.,
Right.
the European nations, Spain, Portugal. Portugal always hiding, Spain always hiding, Belgium always hiding, France is always hiding, Switzerland is always, all these European nations are always hiding, and they let the United Snakes of America take the brunt of the error and the angst of the so-called African Americans, aka God's chosen, aka the Father's chosen, aka the Israelites, aka the only book people. Point blank, period. So let's go ahead and jump and kind of pick up where we left off. We're going to pick up in a odd place. And that odd place is going to be talking about, we're going to talk briefly and show briefly the slave trade reenactment. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that by and large, our people, you better stop, Iron Blue. You need to get saved.
She on a good one. Look, her generation though. This is the thing that people need to be really, they really need to be paying attention, because these 20 and unders are not playing the same game, right? And they're on that codified algorithm thing that's so tough that they already know how to maneuver around certain landmines and bombs, and we'll call them in the codified sense, and they're ready and armed. And so we need to be having this intergenerational exchange of knowledge and wisdom and skill. We should be ready for the youth and the young ones to be like, what can I do? Right? Solomon said, here's the conclusion of the matter. Serve the Most High while you are young. And if we're pushing people away from doing that, whatever their service may be, even if they're the chafing tool that we need, then we are causing harm to our I will say the 12 tribes by not allowing the young ones. We know Caleb and Joshua were young, right? And it's all throughout the text that we see the youth can act and move in ways that are transformative, that change conditions. So we shouldn't be hindering or denying them access to what they can do, and training and disciplining them up so that they know how to utilize their talents in a more profound way.
Agreed. So I'm going to go ahead and hopefully I did this right. I'm going to change something here. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share my screen again to make sure that I'm sharing audio. So we're going to do a quick recap, and this is going to be really, really brief because we got a lot of ground to cover today. So let me get my screen shared up. And yep, share system audio. Yep. Okay. So I had it done wrong the first time. So We're going to briefly play this Juneteenth reenactment, and I know that the family was up in arms about it. When I mean by the family, I'm talking about the YouTube family. So let's play it, and then we'll comment on it. We played it in a video when we brought out the Juneteenth escapades. Before long, anybody brought it out. And I want to also submit this to the family, that you're not going to get this information anywhere on YouTube that's coming out of this channel. Because everyone can talk about what the problem is, but can nobody tell you what the solution is? Well, we have the solution. And the solution is you fight fire with fire. If someone comes with fire, you come with a fire extinguisher. If someone comes with written law, you come with written law to combat it. You can't write a letter to Donald J. Trump. That's not going to solve your problem. Donald J. Trump, it won't even ever see that letter, first of all. Second of all, if he did, he'd probably blow his nose on it or wipe his tail with it. Ew, you being graphic. Yes, I am. So let's go ahead and play this video.
Of our children and the best of our women. What do you need our women for? Our voices were fragmented for decades, and it served the interests of some groups to keep those voices fragmented. The slave trade affected all of us. /80/L48 is adopted. We did what was right for the memory of the millions who suffered the indignity of the slave trade and those who continue to suffer racial discrimination. Let our vote on this resolution restore their dignity and humanity. Our daughter is full of mischief and
Okay, so
Brother C, I have a question while watching that.
Well, go ahead. You go ahead and start us off. Go ahead.
First, and maybe some of the viewers have questions about what they just watched too. We definitely want to hear from you in the chat. Also, I want to say real briefly, share this with someone that needs to be tuned in right now. What is the motive? I always think of motive and intentions, right? What is the motivation? What is the moving or driving factor for Al Jazeera news outlet to share this video?
Mockery.
Because we're talking about the Psalms 83 people, right?
Mockery. This is totally a mockery of the ancestors that did come over in transatlantic, and we do always put the disclaimer that you had our people come over on transatlantics, but you also had our people here. And quiet as kept, they were deporting their own people. Their people were being shipped out of Africa to their people that was already there, if that makes sense. That might not make sense to some, but the people that were already here were related to the people that were shipped. And I'm gonna leave that where it is. So Al Jazeera happens to be the focal point of both of the medias that I happen to pull up. So if this is being pushed through the algorithm is supposed to do one of two things. It's supposed to impact your mind and it's supposed to impact your spirit. Now, depending on where you are in this time-space continuum, one of my favorite phrases, it's going to either impact you positively or it's going to impact you negatively. How it impacts me is that, okay, y'all just did a ritual reenactment. BFD, it's not going to keep my mind in bondage. And it's not going to do anything for me. It's just What this does is that it not only signal boosts our signal, but it signal boosts the Father's signal.
Right.
Because he's the one that's keeping score. He's the one that's keeping track of all of this that's going on. There's a lot of stuff that happened to our people and that happened to us. That score's already been kept. So what our focus should be is, okay, we see you. We see this ritual, because that's what it is.
A ritual, yeah. Mhm.
We see this ritual. So because we see this insulting ritual, it is insulting, Annie Lou Walker, we can identify it as such. And here's the beautiful thing, though. Online, what I've saw on YouTube is that a lot of our people saw this and they were like, what in the Sam hell is this?
Right.
How are they what are they doing reenacting this when they were the plug?
Mhm.
How are you reenacting this whole mission when you were the ones that sold our people over here? You were the ones that was doing the selling. So how is it that the person that's doing the selling, that's just like putting the head of a cartel member over the DEA.
Right.
You take Joaquin Guzman and say, okay, you're the head of Sinaloa cartel. Hey, why don't you run the DEA here for the United States of America? That makes sense, doesn't it? Then you can make sure that, we catch all of the cartels and the bad guys. Who does that make sense to?
To them, because they just had the conference and the reenactment at the trap house.
Absolutely.
Right.
Insane.
It is insane, but this is the way we have to frame it, because this is what it looks like. Like, you are reenacting your role, maybe. And I don't even know why. We're going to go into this deeper. We have been for weeks. To those of you that haven't been watching, you definitely want to go back and watch some of the last episodes. But Ghana, when have they paid? Right? When have they paid reparations? When have any of the kingdoms on that continent that were enslavers, traffickers, who benefited financially already,
Yes.
because they were compensated at the time of, trade-off, when have they paid and returned artifacts? The same thing that they're demanding.
Ghana was the plug. Ghana was the plug. That should be, y'all put that on the t-shirt and y'all trademark and make sure that you give your 10% to S.O.T.E.P Productions. Ghana was the plug in all of this. Okay? So because there was the plug, they should be put on trial just like everybody else. They owe us as well. I see some brothers who I haven't seen in a long time. Ronald Hosley, shalom to you, brother. Hope all is well. My brother right here. Hey, brother, how you been? I haven't seen you in a while. We haven't been on in a while. It's good to see you, brother Yakadi. It's good to see you. Hope I pronounce it right. But these brothers are faithful brothers who come to our channel and have been partaking of this information. Now, I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it until the cows come home. There's no channel on the earth that's putting out this information on this situation. Some people will come and look at our channel, and then they'll try to regurgitate what we're doing, but they don't have the solution. They can't tell you what should be done. And so what I would implore you is this. If you don't share what we're doing, and we're not doing it for likes and views or none of that, because we're S.O.T.E.P Productions. So that means that we produce stuff that you may or may not have seen, that you may or may not have known that we produced. But that's a whole separate topic. I'm saying all that to say this. All of our people that's in the United States of America should know about this information. And yet you got these big YouTube channels that don't know a goddamn thing about what they're talking about. They'll come on our channel, look, and take a snippet or two, and then pawn it off as if they came with it. I'm going to say this too. The only reason why they're moving at the velocity that they're moving, and you're going to see it, is because of the work that we put in. And because of the work that the sister put in. And those of you who did submit petitions, they are scrambling right now. And that's the impact of just a handful. The Father has never needed all of y'all to do any of his work. But just the simple fact that you got a handful of people that come on this channel that are dedicated. So this information needs to go through all of YouTube. It's not about promoting S.O.T.E.P Productions. or it's not really about promoting the sister. It's more so about the information and what you do with it. You have more power than you realize. The stars are telling you that you have power. The book is telling you that you have power. The Father has been telling you, he's your Father. And he's been telling you this all of this time, and it's your time. And most of us are still asleep. So my prayer is that y'all wake up out of your slumber, even though you know you're Israelite, you're still asleep because you're not moving accordingly and you ain't built nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what, somebody from the last time we were here live took literally when we said the greater works, because those floods hit hard.
Thank you. Let's go into that. That's a perfect segue. Let's take a look at that,
And that
because
heat wave in Europe been hitting pretty hard too. So whoever did it, I say shalom to you and Selah.
Selah, so be it.
They took
that's how
that
it should
greater
be.
works very seriously.
Yes. And so you do know Israelites that you have the ability to do such things, right? We're not just talking about nothing mythological, because our ancestors did it. And Mashiach himself said he had your big brother, and that's who he is. He said it specifically. He said, greater works than these ye shall do. And he was talking about the works that he did. So if our big brother said greater works than than what he did, you shall do. And somebody also said the kingdom is within you. So that's all you need to know to go off and do what it is that you need to be doing. And each and every one of you know in your spirit person that you have greater works in you that need to be produced on the earth this moment, this hour, irregardless if the house is burning down around you, irregardless if there's floods around you. Our 400 years is over with. Go look at what he said in Genesis 12. That pertains to you. It didn't pertain to the folks that left out of Egypt and sojourned. That pertained, Genesis, the releasing of the 400-year prophecy pertained 1000% to you. If you don't believe it, we got videos in our catalog, because we were the ones that bring that out. They shadow banned that. They stopped that. We got millions of views on that. And so let's take a look at what's happening in West Africa right now, because after they've been doing these mockeries and rituals, you've been had some praying folks on the Israelite side saying it's not so. Therefore, we're going to pronounce on you. And so you need to be careful about fooling with the Father's children, because they do have the ability to pronounce things on you. Point blank, period. So I'm going to share. Thanks for the segue, sis. I'm going to go ahead and share this video. If I don't jiggle a wire on myself before that, right? Window. So take a look at this video. What's been happening to Ghana since they decided to try to control the reparations talk. You're going to have a whole conversation about reparations, and you don't include those who were most harmed. Ghana, you were the plug. You made money off of that, and you had almost an endless supply of our people that you were shipping over there. Let's take a look at this video.
Brother C, is there supposed to be value?
Oh, you don't hear it?
No.
Okay, let me start it again. You know, like I said, I'll jiggle wires on myself sometimes. So let me stop sharing, and then I'll do it again.
Team Maya, I agree. Those who are led into captivity will go into captivity, and that we do say that what they enacted was prophetic to their future. Selah. So shall it be.
Yes. Where's that at? Where we see that?
It's up on the screen. It's up on the screen right now, brother.
Okay, cool. I threw that up there. My bad. I didn't get a chance to address it. Let's go ahead and play this right here.
A lucky escape. Heavy rains in Abidjan in Ivory Coast triggered a landslide that swept through Zambile.
Stop playing with us.
Even the bed was destroyed. Thank God we were able to get out of the house. We were still inside. We'd spent the night there. I never thought something like this could happen.
Dozens of people have already been killed since the start of the rainy season in May. Many others now homeless.
We're left to fend for ourselves. We really don't know where to go or where to put our belongings.
The government has said it is trying to save lives by raising neighborhoods at risk of flooding. In a visit to the affected area, one local official even said those who were killed shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Unfortunately, today's victims were living in areas that had not been fully cleared. Sadly, it's this disregard for safety measures by some residents that has led to these tragedies. Once again, our teams are on the ground, demolishing structures located in high-risk areas.
I'm sorry. I must stop there. I must stop right there. I'm sorry. That nigga right there sounds like a politician. He sounds like Al Sharpton in there. My bad. Go ahead.
You talking about the one that was the spokesperson?
Yeah, that nigga up there. He sound like one of he sound like Al Sharpton in there. This Negro right here.
Yeah.
Well, he ain't a Negro, but this African, right? I call him for what he is. African. This African right here. He lying.
What I wanted to go back to, look at the top where it says West Africa flooding. It says how many? At least
12 people killed. And that's a lie from the pit of hell. That's a lie.
Right.
Matter of fact, you know that I saw something where, and a brother brought this out. The heat wave, how many folks it's been killing over there?
It said 1,000 persons per day.
It's 1,000 people a day. It's not 1,000 just total. And see, they're not telling, not that they just like the snakes. And you know who got it bad for doing that and for telling lies? And this African is doing the same thing that they did. The European will do this. The white man will do this all the time. And he'll and the Israelis are bad for doing this. I'm gonna throw them under the bus too. Fuck them. They bad for doing this because what they'll do is they'll say, no, we didn't get hit. No, no bombs landed. Right. It was just shrapnel. It was just a broken bomb. It was just shrapnel. See, they don't tell you that if you film or show anything that happened to them getting swept off of that land, because they are going to get swept and they are going to get sacked according to the book. If you were to ever show anything, guess what they'll do? They'll throw you in prison for life now. They got a complete blackout on all information coming out on the destruction of the genocidal colony, the Balfour Declarants, aka the Israeli, aka the Israeliers. Point blank. And y'all, I'm not saying anything new because y'all could go through the catalog. Hey, he been saying that for years. That exact same phrase. Let's continue to watch this information because they're saying 12 people killed. This has been all the way more than that, but we know they lies.
Residents who live with the threat of landslides also live with the threat of bulldozers. Last month, the Zimbabwe neighborhood was also torn down, the latest in a series of such demolitions in Ivory Coast in recent years. The government says it's to protect residents from floods, but also to restore order. People say their homes were destroyed with little to no warning, which local authorities have denied. But residents have been left to pick their belongings from the ruins with no compensation.
I haven't found another place to live yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. They say it's for the country's development. We can't say no. We're exhausted and we're suffering.
Across the border, Ghana also pledged to crack down on unofficial structures. After the country recorded its highest rainfall in years earlier this week, flooding killed several people. The president has warned that as climate change worsens, so too will dangerous heavy rains, and it will be beyond Accra's control. Camille Nedelec, Al Jazeera.
So you guys just saw that, and I'm going to say this. It would be wise of you to leave the Israelites alone. It would be wise for you to leave those people alone because I'm going to say this point blank period. Someone on this side pronounced that on that nation because of how they've been moving, trying to hijack what they know they shouldn't be hijacking. And you do, each and every Israelite on this show right now, those of you who know or not know, you have the ability to do exactly that. It's not by coincidence. And I know we got brothers operating that know how to operate in this realm, right? But it's not by coincidence that, okay, you're going to do this mockery. Okay, boom, you're going to get flooded. And then at the end, you're going to blame climate change. Well, if you're going to blame anybody, you need to blame the Father for this because this is his construct. blame him, point the finger at him. But then you have to ask yourself, well, why then? Why did this happen to them? Well, I mean, you playing with fire by messing with these Israelites. You playing with fire.
Days after the Accra convening and reenactment. Days after they had that reenactment at the so-called celebratory event for Juneteenth.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
And we know what Juneteenth means over here, but then they're gonna make a mockery on Juneteenth, reenacting, saying what they really saying is, oh, y'all been in slavery, and y'all seen the diaspora wars online, how they be talking greasy. I ingest that because it's funny. You talking greasy about the Africans that were I saw a guy say this. He said, we caught a plane here, but you came in on a boat as property, something to that effect. Like he was like, cracking jokes and laughing about it, to where we're the bottom of the barrel and we're the brunt of most people's jokes. And so when we don't align with you because you've never aligned with us, and you guys are making all of these TikToks and videos about what you call FBA. Well, FBA is really just now getting started. They're just now coming into realizing how powerful they are. And the more all of these nations come against us, which they are, you can see it in the diaspora war. Since you've said that, hey, we're going to stop going to these dumbass churches. We're going to stop praying to stained glass and that hippie heroin addict. We're going to stop praying to him. Okay, we're going to move away from your religion. We're going to move away from your Republican, Democrat, dumbass politics stuff, because we know that both sides are not for our turn. Okay, so you did that check. Oh, and then you said, which was a spiritual move by the Father, nobody saw this coming, was that y'all was all on code when y'all said, hey, you know what? We're not going out protesting for no goddamn body. We're going to protest for ourselves. We're not protesting on no TPS. We're not protesting ICE. We're not on none of that time whatsoever. We just on the Israelite time. That's the move of the Father right there. So the more that we've been and then the delineation where we like, hey, you know what? We're only rocking out with continental United States. So in other words, if my brother's in St. Louis, my brother's in Philly, my brother's in Memphis, my brother's in Atlanta, my brother's in LA, my brother's in the Bay, my brother's up north, my brother's south, Midwest, Detroit, Chi. If we want to rock out together, yeah, it's good for us to do that. But everybody else, if you ain't got Negro or color on your license plate, which is your license plate is your birth certificate, then we probably not gonna rock with you. I'm sorry. Now, does that mean to say that we gonna gatekeep and say, okay, nobody know? Those who rocking with us, we gonna rock with them. Those who talking greasy and nasty can kick rocks. Go ahead, sis.
I don't have nothing else to say except for Selah.
So be it. So let's get into the so now we done gave y'all a quick little recap, and I tell you this right now, you're not gonna find this information on no other YouTube. You're not gonna find it because it's not there. It's not there. It's not for them to produce this information. Not only is it not for them to produce it, they just don't know what to do. You could talk all day about what's broken. Okay, that's fine. But how do you fix it? Right. Where's the solution at? And that's what we coming with. We got there's a whole old website. Yeah, let me show this right quick. Before you jump in, there's a whole old website that's been created that will tell you 100% what you need to do right here. Here go the solution right here. The solution site right here. Right there. That's it. How do you get to it? Okay, I'll throw the banner up. How do you get to it? Is right here. Bang. That's how you get to the site. It's got the, well, what do you mean? What do you mean, brother? See the solution. Well, the solution is for you to go in and download this link and then fill it out according to how you've been treated and email it to how you've been treated. It's already done. All you have to do is go in and fill in the blanks on what happened to your family. Now, here's what's happened on the earth, fam. And you can believe it or not. You could take it to Ripley's Believe It or Not, or you could take it to the Almanac. I don't care. But here's what happened. Because we have had individuals doing this, they are scrambling so fast to enact Ghana as being the worldwide representative and the gateway for you to get reparations. And guess what? They're gonna wind up screwing CARICOM out of it. You heard it here first. And it's just going to only be about those of the African continent. But it's really a guise and a ruse to rebuild Africa. and not to and not have anything to do with you. None of these reparations talk have anything to do with you. That's why when they vote, who's representing you? But you guys in the chat, who's representing you? Is it the Congressional Black Talkers? Is it the NAACP? Is it NAN? Is it, what's that other one? The Urban Action Network, the Urban League. Who is that? The Legion of Doom. What's the other ones? The Super Friends. Is it Lex Luthor in them? I think it's Lex Luthor in them. Legion of Doom. Look, I'm with Legion of Doom. Lex Luthor always said, "Hey, if we can't have it, we'll take it all."
They waiting for Captain America to pull up.
They waiting for that hippie heroin addict to come out the sky and do something. Most of you Christians, I'm in all of these channels all the time. Most of you Christians is waiting for that hippie heroin addict to come back, and he is going to be MIA, nowhere to be found. Brother that nigga Steve, somewhere sleeping, like the book say.
The zigzag man finna take him to the trap house.
The zigzag man. Listen, the zigzag man ain't got enough for them people. He couldn't even, the stained glass couldn't even save himself. How he gonna save somebody? Now, let's not get it twisted, fam. I don't want you guys to believe that. I don't believe that Mashiach was who he said he was. Mashiach was 100% entity, and he was 100% man. He had to put on human clothing. But Mashiach, when it said, "Let there be light," what was the light that the Father called when he said, "Let there be light"? Because the sun and the moon did not exist. They didn't come around until the other days. I think it was day 3 or day 2 or day 4, one of them days. I'm getting old, but I blame that because I can't tell you exactly where. But he didn't call that light until after the fact. So what was that light that he called when he said, "Let there be light"? Bam. And he's the firstborn and he's first fruits. Bam. Whose first fruits and whose firstborn would have been the first thing that the Father called into existence here? Point blank. He called his son. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's what it was and that's what it is. Point blank, period. You got all of these NAN, and you got all of these people talking for black people, but they haven't done a goddamn thing since their existence. What has the NAACP did? You got Mushmouth Crump, you got Al Sharpton, both of them are thieves, crooks, and liars. What have they done for black people?
You know, they were invited
done for black people. Go ahead.
But they were invited to not only the UN before the resolution signing, but also they were all in attendance at the conference in Accra, Ghana.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm gonna get to you, Dr. Gary. Peace and blessings to you. Shalom, Saudi your family. I think he said they came as passengers and you came as car. Yeah, that's what it was. And I saw that. I was like, wow, they got a lot of nerve. And then at the next sentence, he'd be cosplaying as a Hawaiian or using our vernacular and trying to sound and look like and be like y'all. It's funny. It's funny how everybody on the whole earth will utilize your vernacular, your name, your language, how you move, how you talk, your swag. I'm talking about everybody. Nobody's immune to this. Asians, Europeans, Africans, Arabs, all of them want to be like you.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
And then try to turn around and accuse us of not having any culture.
Every one of them. Shalom to you, Dr. Gary. It's good seeing you, sir. This is the comment. And this is a comment that most people should really try to understand. And we've had this conversation about who they are and who they really are. It's one thing to know that you're an Israelite, but then you mean to tell me that the Father can't reveal to you what specific tribe you're from? If you ask him that, and if you start doing the real research behind that, not all of us are Levi. Not all of us are from the Southern Kingdom, because the Northern Kingdom was already over here. Northern Kingdom was all, and how the Northern Kingdom was done so cold. They only tell you about who they brought over here. They didn't tell you about who they were shipping out of here. They don't tell you about that. And it wasn't the Mongolians who came in after the fact. Because my brother Kazak did a deep, and I wish I could find that, he did a deep 5-hour study on the people that were here before the Mongolians. The people that were here before those Mongolians came over was the Israelites.
Right.
And he proved that. So let's do this. Let's get into what we go get into. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit my monkey behind down. I'm gonna throw up on the screen, and then we're gonna look at the next steps of the foolishness of the foolish expedition that Ghana is doing. Why I call it foolish is because the more Ghana tries to hijack what's earmarked, the repairing of our people, which you can't overthrow nothing the Father's doing. If the Father said, I'm going to repair those people who were harmed, it don't matter what you try to do. You're not going to be able to stop it or overthrow it. That's book. How are you going to stop the creator who created this whole construct that we live in from doing anything that he wants to do?
You can't. For the kingdom of Yah is a power, not mere talk.
That's a something phrase right there. Dr. Gary, it's good seeing you, sir. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining in. So I'm going to go ahead.
Hey, Dad.
I'm going to go ahead and throw this up, and we're supposed to reverence the those above us that have wisdom, and so that's what I'm doing when I'm giving honor to our elder, Dr. Gary,
Right.
because we should venerate those who understand and know the truth. We shouldn't venerate people like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan can't hold a candle to Dr. Gary. We shouldn't venerate any of these so-called entertainers. The people that should be venerated is those people who know who they are and know how to give us wisdom and knowledge from a practical life application perspective. Not some monkey who made a bunch of money and who will surround himself with Europeans that will take his life in a second.
Yep. And so we have to stop looking for the living amongst the dead.
Yes.
Shout out to Annie Lou Walkers. That's my foot on the pavement, ride or die right there. Always willing to pull up when it comes to pursuing justice on behalf of children and families. And so I want to just acknowledge her. So as you can see, we're at the page that is the next steps. Okay. What you're looking at right here is what came out of the Accra, Ghana conference. I know that you may have heard about 18 or 19 points, depending on the information and who provided it. Some people are saying it's 18 points. Some people are saying it's 19 points. We're going to go through it so you know exactly how many were made and why there is confusion around 18 or 19 points. But as you can see, the letterhead, it's not a UN document. It is a Ghana convened conference outcome that already has been transmitted to the UN, not adopted by it. Okay. So it was transmitted to the UN by Ghana after the convened conference. This is the outcome. It wasn't adopted by the UN, but it was already transmitted ahead of the General Assembly schedule. So the next UN General Assembly meeting will be happening in September. And this document has already been transmitted to them, and it's already keying up what they want to vote on next. Okay. So I wanted you to see this, and we're going to go through it paragraphs at a time. We might not be able to read every paragraph, but you can definitely go back and look at it for yourself, which I do encourage you to do. And so you see right here, next steps, high level consultative conference on the next steps to the landmark United Nations resolution. That's the resolution number for those of you who have not actually looked at the resolution that declared slavery the gravest crime and trafficking. You're going to want to look it up by that number. You see it at the top right hand corner. You see the date that the General Assembly met, 26th of March of 2026. You see the session, the 80th session. So when you hear about UN General Assembly sessions, you might hear about, oh, we're preparing for the 81st or the 82nd. Well, the 80th happened already. Okay. And you see it, filed. This is what I talk about when I say codified. Things are organized, filed, and compiled, written and these how laws and policies happen, in a way that you can find them by name, section, title, or number. Okay, so this is agenda item number 119, etc., etc. If you have not read the resolution and you've only heard people doing commentary on it, I encourage you to read it for yourself. Form your own thoughts and opinion and discern what you're reading as you read through it on your own. All right, so let's go back to the actual framework, and you can scroll down as you see the pictures and all of that. The ACRA next steps commitments on reparatory justice. So we're going to start with paragraphs 1 through 5. Okay, so what you can see is that this was adopted at the high-level consultative conference on the next steps, and it's repeating itself. And they use this terminology, which I have said to watch, because when you codify or make legal definitions around this terminology, Africans and the African diaspora, or the descendants of Africa, or African descendants, then that is the framing that is going to be used throughout all of the legal documents. And they're telling you the people that they represent within them. Okay, so you see that this conference took place from the 17th of June to the 19th. And what Brother C showed you in the beginning was the culmination of all of the events, the Juneteenth celebration, like we said, that happened with that mockery, because we find it insulting. We're not pleased by the performance. As a matter of fact, I rebuke and denounce the performance. It has nothing to do with us. And I claim what my sister said in the beginning, which was, this is a prophetic, script of your future. So we have to learn our power to bind and loose things. And I'm not talking about gamesmanship. I'm talking about the power that rests in our tongue. We cannot just blindly accept things as the reality, right? We need to challenge that. So as you can see, the first paragraph, at the invitation of His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana and the African Union, champion on advancing the cause of justice. Who named him champion? Who named him the champion on advancing the cause of justice and the payment of reparations to Africans? Right? These people are making claims about themselves, and then how will they prove it? The high-level consultative conference on the next steps, and I'm going to skip that, obviously, because we already read that. And let's look at what starts as paragraph 2. Okay? And it says, we, the heads of state and government, ministers of foreign affairs and senior officials participating in the conference, including the 123 United Nations member states that voted in support of the resolution, their representatives of regional bodies, people of African descent. So when they say that, I want you to know that the Congressional Black Caucus was there in attendance. Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, right? They were in attendance. Okay. You have the NAACP in attendance. And so that makes it seem like all of the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery are being represented by these few that are considering themselves people of African descent, when we are in direct opposition to any representation by the African Union or those who are stating that they are representing us, because they didn't even consult with us. They had a high-level consultative conference without our consultation, without our, ability to bring forward evidence that may dispute any of what they're saying, without our ability to talk about our experiences. And so, as a matter of fact, before the UN, we haven't even had our day in court. And so that's why we are filing on our own the stated opposition on the record that none of these people represent us, our experiences, the fact that we are a separate and distinguishable group from the grouping of people of African descent or diaspora, and that we need to have our day to be able to challenge on the record what is being stated and who the actual victims are. Okay, so then you see also they have civil society organizations, academic institutions, activists, and non-governmental organizations. They adopted this outcome document on the next steps for the implementation of the resolution and advancing the reparatory justice agenda. Okay, so you see that clearly, the people that were there in agreement, including the 123 United Nations members that voted in favor or support of the resolution itself. I want to go down to paragraph number 5. Like I said, I won't be able to read all of it, but I do want you guys to see certain parts of it, and I want you to go back and look this document up and read it for yourself. We recognize that the resolution specifically addresses racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. We also recognize the historical and ongoing injustices perpetuated against African peoples and people of African descent, including colonialism, apartheid, genocide, systemic racism, structural inequality, and all other current systems of exploitation and dehumanization. We welcome the resolution's contribution to advancing existing global, political, and legal affairs for reparatory justice for Africans and the people of African descent, as well as indigenous people and indentured laborers. You see how this starts to build? When you don't define who exactly are you talking about and how are those people represented in their respective places of representation, because I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, the US had a very distinct system of chattel slavery that was codified starting with Partis Sequitur Ventrum and still exists through codification that's masked under other titles, even with the 13th Amendment loophole, and we're not going to dive deep into the constitutionality of that, but still exists in practice today.
You mean they ain't stopped doing Jim Crow? Is that what you mean?
I mean, there's things like I said before. If you look at Jim Crow, if you look at, what they call de facto and de jure, right? Is it happening in practice? So I'm going to give the example of Partis Sequitur Ventrum, that which follows the belly, which set up the matrilineal condition being inheritable by the child. Okay, so what that meant was if the mother was a slave, then the child born to that mother inherited the condition of the mother naturally at birth. It also allowed for slave masters to rape without any consequence, to create children without any consequence. And I've asked this question several times. When do they have to pay child support? Because they enforce child support and all other kind of alimony and rules on other people, but then they don't look at their lineage and say, well, we owe a debt too. Right? And then they put indigenous and indentured laborers. Who are they? How did they now become a part of the reparatory justice framework? I'm sorry. Look, I try to get serious with it.
No, that's a shoehorn. That's a shoehorn, because who is the biggest people that be crying about, oh, we was indentured servants. Oh, we was slaves too, the Irish.
Right. And so you guys see the sleight of hand here, right? Now, I'm sure that they will try to declare that it's the people of the Caribbean islands that have declared themselves indigenous, but because of very distinct practices during chattel slavery because of very distinct codification wherever chattel slaves were, and whatever whoever their enslavers were in the nation that they were enslaved in. That means that the legal remedy, which they call reparations, return of artifacts, and the promise of non-repetition, right? That's what the resolution calls for. Are owed to those people and from certain perpetrators. So if you're in the US, yes, we have to look at what did the US codify, who was all involved, was that Britain and their bankers, where's the claim at, and who do we file the claim against? But what they're saying is that every group can be added under this umbrella as another claimant, sharing whatever remedy eventually exists. Okay? And this is the pattern of dilution and erasure that we should be able to obviously discern by now. It's the pattern of the civil rights. Yeah, it was meant for this group, but you know what? Everybody can get in on it, right? So look at the pattern already in the beginning, paragraph 5, and know that it is a pattern of dilution to dilute the claim and the cause and the right and the legal remedy, and erasure, so that nobody really knows who exactly the victims are. And know that the U.S. Congressional Black Caucus and the NAACP are part of the group that agrees to this framework, because they stated that in the beginning. Who are the people that helped to create this outcome, this document as the framework that has been transmitted to the UN already? Do you have anything else you want to say about that, Brother C? Because I mean, that just speaks clearly of its own. You see the pattern.
Two things. One, when that paragraph says we recognize, you stop right there. That's a very powerful part of that one, because when it says we recognize, when you're reading and looking at this document, we did put a link up in the chat. I'll show that link again. There's a link right here. This link will get you to this document that you're looking at.
It's going to give you a warning, though, because obviously it comes from a foreign government. So your system might say this might look dangerous, but that's what it is.
And so, having said that, we can probably download the document and put it up on the site. But it's you who have to recognize those who have been harmed, and this by Advocate and TV. Organizations that are causing more harm to Black communities than help have been purposefully and historically corralled into civil rights spotlights, aka the Boule. But this person blazing. Yet who was affected by Black codes, redlining, whole towns massacre, and Jim Crow was probably damn near worse than slavery when you think about it.
Right.
And so looking at this right here, when you have, because white supremacists and those Africans with their talking points, and the Latinos with their talking points, the Asians with their talking points, have no idea that we had whole towns that were burgeoning, that were popping during look at when they were popping, though, during the time when they were depressed and going into a depression. But we had cities and towns that were popping, that the U.S. military, along with and we did a series on that. I think we did a series on that Red Summer. And if you want to look through our catalog, you can look through our catalog and see that video where we broke this down. And so a lot of these people who are talking, running their mouth, have no idea what we've really been through.
No, nor do they care.
Right. That's the important part.
Right. And so only we can represent ourselves in our cause.
Right.
Nobody else can do that. And I'm just being honest. If they were enslaved somewhere else, let's just say Russia, okay? Mm-hmm. They need to bring that to the Russian government, because that's not going to be the same system of codification that chattel slavery had in the U.S. Perhaps Russia didn't have the 13th Amendment loophole. Perhaps Russia didn't have the Jim Crow laws. Maybe, there were other things, and the duration might not have been as long. So the people that were scattered across the world, and maybe or particularly happen to be in captivity in Russia, have a different claim than what we have as the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. And I encourage them to file a claim on their own, right? But this is why we are calling for the legal distinction to be made, and for the representation of our evidence and facts, testimony to be heard. And that doesn't fall under any of what the AU and all of these other groups that they mention are discussing.
Let me ask a question to the chat. Who out here has even found this document and is talking about it? Show me a YouTube channel that's found this document. First of all, you got to find it. You gotta, because they because of the work that we've been doing, they've been hiding all of this stuff, and they're moving at a velocity that you have never seen them move before. Why are they moving so fast? Now you have to ask yourself that question. The reason why they want to move so fast is because they want to have the framework in place to 100% lock you out. Who has talked about this document on YouTube? I guarantee you, after we finish talking about it, you're going to have others talk about it. Why is that? And our channel has been shadow banned to oblivion, by the way. We no longer in the algorithm. They'll say that we had 20, they'll say that we had 25 views, and after we get done, when we used to have thousands of views come up after we finish the broadcast, and at that time it was shadow banned. Now it's even throttled even further. When we finish this video a week from now, it'll probably have 100 views.
Well, the people that are here can share it, and that's how we need to do this, because we're not hoarding information. We're putting the information out plainly, showing you where to find it, telling you what it is. And so everyone here, your action can be to share the information.
That's all we've been asking. Show me one channel that has showed this document that you're looking up right now. Put it in the chat if you've seen it. Put it in the chat if you see it after we do the work that we do.
Yeah, because people have to understand the legalities of things, right? And so, I haven't even seen them break it down from the legal perspective and what to do next.
Because they can't, because it's not their job. And see, that's what people don't understand. You could play in your lane, and that's a beautiful thing. But this is a lane that these big YouTubers should wash their hands of it and say, okay, I don't have any idea on how we should address this. I only know how to do what I do, but here's where you could go and get that information on this and how we should be attacking it. It should be a coming together of like minds and say, okay, point them over to here, because this channel over here, although they may be small and they mighty indeed, but this channel has the information that you can get to. And it's not just this channel. This sister has the wherewithal to be able to combat what they're doing. This sister got them on the run now. I'll tell you what, I'll say this right now. The work that has been done so far has got them on the run right now. That's why you're seeing the movement that you're seeing. They're used to like lollygag and be like, oh, we'll do it whenever. We'll go slow on this reparations thing because nobody's ever going to combat us. FBA is never going to stand up. The Israelites are asleep. They're slumber. They're at rest. They're never going to stand up because they don't know the law. That time is over with. They are on the run right now. And it's time for y'all to recognize that, hey, this is where we're going to get that. Y'all should be sharing this by and large to the whole diaspora, because what's going to ultimately happen, it's they're going to go back and say, okay, you know what? The information was found on this channel. Let's not boost this channel. Let's signal boost the information. And that's what we're trying to say. Go ahead, sis.
Absolutely. This is for your, for your empowerment, right? I could file these legal oppositions all day. But what disturbs me is that I look across the landscape and I see no legal experts talking about this from the international law perspective and domestic law perspective. I see, no lawyers breaking this down and then saying, you need to preserve your human rights and here's what you need to do next. All I see is talk. But when you're watching something, you need to think about what is the outcome and how is that going to produce a change in conditions for me? Or is this just another thing to watch for entertainment? So let's go down to the next set of paragraphs. And we're going to take our time to provide the information to you. And that's why we're on, as you can see today, part 3 of this series of accepting apologies is easy, but paying your own debt is different, right? Now, I want to read paragraph 7. We recognize that these historical and ongoing injustices also constitute violations of human and people's rights. I just said that. We're the legal experts that are saying to you, here's what it means, and here's the way that people's rights or human rights have been violated, and here is what you can do as the one that has been violated generationally to put in a claim, because legal violations are supposed to, when you claim that someone violated you, you're supposed to be able to pursue justice in the form of a legal remedy. I didn't set up the way that this so-called justice system and the civil court system works. But the people that did are the same ones that codified chattel slavery. So we need to understand what it means to declare something a crime. And I think some of you all know that from the fact that when you see people that are picked up on crimes, they're arrested. The prosecutor has charges against them, right? If they're found guilty, they may have to serve time and pay restitution, fines. If they can't be charged with a crime, but they still did something that may be harmful, then everyday people have a right to file a claim in what we call the civil court, civil tort claims, which are also known as lawsuits. To ask that court then to hear the harm that was caused and to, provide a legal remedy in the form of damages, monetary. Sometimes if you're harmed at work and it's something that, happened on the job, that's called workers' compensation. So see, legal remedies exist all around you. I use the example of being in a car accident. Typically, the insurance companies are the ones that negotiate the legal remedies. Not just for the automobile, right? But if a person is injured or harmed. So I want you guys to understand that talking and complaining doesn't produce the legal remedy. You have to oppose in a manner that is codified, because we're looking at documents that are codified, right? So it says, also constitute violations of human and people's rights, including the right to self-determination, development, culture, and free disposition of natural resources, and affirm the reparatory justice constitutes an essential pathway toward the realization of the right to development, as recognized under Article 22 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the United Nations Declaration on the Right to Development, and the Sustainable Development Goals. If you haven't seen the Sustainable Development Goals, you might want to look up global goals. Samsung typically has a complete list. You can look up Samsung global goals and you'll find them so that you can know what they're talking about. And the persistence of these historical injustices continue to undermine equitable and meaningful participation of Africans and people of African descent in economic, social, cultural, and political development. So you see, they affirm that reparatory justice constitutes an essential pathway toward the realization of the right to development as recognized under their charter. What does that charter have to do with us? Because we're talking about descendants of chattel slavery, so they claim, but then they add in indigenous peoples, which has to be defined, right? And then laborers, which also needs to be defined. But then say all of this is recognized under their charter. And how do we have rights to their charter? Because the United States is not a party to the African Charter on Humans and People's Rights. It has no legal force over the U.S. government whatsoever. That charter has no legal force over the U.S. whatsoever. The entire normative architecture cited in this section, what they are trying to normalize, is the Abuja Proclamation, the Accra Proclamation AU Decision 934. Okay. It is an African regional law, kind of like we have our Constitution and domestic laws that follow in each state. You have, various states' constitutions and other domestic laws. You even have it all the way down to municipalities, townships, and cities that have councils, right? Is an African regional law and an African Union policy. None of it binds Washington, D.C. And the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery our claims run against a government that isn't a signatory to a single instrument that the African Union has. To anything named in this so-called framework, including Article 22 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the United Nations Declaration on the Right to Development, right? They're not a signatory to that. So what obligation does that set for the U.S.? But you have all of these people celebrating this resolution and celebrating what the Ghana president is doing and not saying a word to the U.S. Congressional Black Talkers, caucus, and still sending their money to the NAACP as lifetime members. Watching Al Sharpton on MSNBC doing a lot of talking and applauding because Ben Crump is pulling up in various places. Now, I want you to think about, why is it that they're not talking about this? They were at the meeting. They were at the convening of high consultative conference of whoever the high level consultants were. Doesn't that equal dollars? I'm not really sure. But the last time I checked, consultants and contractors get paid. Unless you guys go around doing high level consultations or contract work for free.
$500 an hour, 4 hour minimum. And it goes up from there. It could be $5,000 an hour, 4 hour minimum. But that's a contractor's rate that's commensurate with the job that you're doing, right?
Right. And listen, I'm not a hater. If you got a job to do, say that. But don't hide it under the guise of the pursuit of justice, because justice, biblically, let's call it that in the word, is always aligned with righteousness. You can't be a liar, a deceiver, and a manipulator, then declaring that you're pursuing justice. Because that's not being in right standing. There's nothing righteous about you playing games with other people's lives, livelihood, and experiences. Right? And right now you see a lot of what I would call pharaohs sending out as magicians to do this sleight of hand work in a codified way that a lot of people wouldn't be looking for and a lot of people wouldn't understand has a binding effect on them. And this is why I'm bringing it out, so that you can know. And that you can also be able to oppose it and establish the freedom boundary. Like, this is not what we have accepted, and we are not a party to none of this. So don't try to say you're talking for the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, because we right here and we can speak for ourselves.
Well, but this is, like you said, and I'm glad you mentioned that point. And this is something that you all should look at. This is a form of magic.
Mm-hmm.
This is a form of craft that's being performed on a world scale and on the world stage right in front of your very eyes. This sleight of hand magic trick, what they're doing, but they're thinking that they're going to get away with it. But the Father has said, no, not so. Not so.
Right. How many times have we read an affirmation? We recognize, we express, we believe, we affirm. Now, the last time I checked, the book of Enoch said that Penema, one of the high-level watchers, leader of the other lower ones, established writing with pen and paper as a form of wicked binding when people confess their faith that way, right? That has basically corrupted men to today, okay? Because men were never meant to confess their faith in that way. And so we have to be very strategic and tactful with how we remove ourselves from that binding in the writings that we do. And that's what I have done, in effect, is say, first of all, there is an opposition stated on the record because this is the process that you have chosen. And we're not ignorant to the fact because they thought we were going to continue to just talk and not and be ignorant to the fact that they're codifying stuff, but we're not. And this is a new era. And the truth is right here. Okay. So let's go on to, and like I said, I can't go over every paragraph, but we're going to skim over some. And if we have to do this another week, that's fine. Let's go over to paragraph 22. I definitely encourage you guys to go through this on your own. Paragraph 22. Let's see. All right. So as you can see here in section B, you have the shared principles and values, right? And paragraph 22 through 28 is going to be those shared principles and values within this section. So I want to read paragraph 23. Okay. Drawing on African norms and values. Y'all heard that beginning of the sentence. Drawing on African norms and values. Here's one of those affirmations or confessions of faith and belief. We affirm that the pursuit of reparatory justice cannot be advanced by any one country, continent, region, or institution acting alone. The historical injustices of enslavement, colonization, and their enduring legacies affected people dispersed across nations and continents. We hold that the response must be rooted in a shared sense of peoplehood, common purpose, and collective action. So they're saying that the pursuit of reparatory justice cannot be advanced by any one country, continent, region, or institution acting alone. The response must be rooted in a shared sense of peoplehood, common purpose, and collective action. This is the confirmation word for word. This is the same instruction that was given in the paragraph 95 of the UN Working Group's report prior to the resolution being made law, transcending distinctions. Well, wait a minute, because last time I checked, Brother C, we as the people of the book and also the people here in the U.S., descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, are asking for a distinction, asking for the delineation that you talked about, right? Asking for our claims to be removed from that of the African Union in CARICOM and the people that don't represent us. But they're saying it needs to transcend the distinction. Two separate documents we have this in, months apart, different authors, an identical conclusion. Dissolve the individual claim into the collective. When two unrelated institutions land on the same erasure language independently, because that's what you see when you dissolve anything into the collective, you can hear it as we're the melting pot, right? You heard that phrase before. If you haven't, look it up, because you used to hear it all the time. I used to hear it all the time when I was a child. Oh, this is the melting pot. Well, what are we being melted into? You feel me? Because I want to know.
Okay.
You remember when they used to say that?
I thought I was on mute. Yeah. It's funny because no, we've done an IP that uses that kind of vernacular. So that's why I'm laughing. I'll show it to you at some point. But
oh, okay.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, when I was in school, I was unfortunately, but yet I find purpose in what I have to do. One of the children of the token integration busing program. So I went to the community of La Jolla, California. Y'all can look it up. It's a wealthy, affluent. It used to be a sundown town for elementary school. Okay. And when I looked around, when they said the melting pot, I was the only little kid with braids and beads. Only black child in my classroom. So I'm thinking, what you mean the melting pot? Because I don't see nobody in here that, I was trying to figure it out. Right. And so when you hear that, just know that dissolution or what they're attempting to do is to dissolve individual claims into the collective.
This is what your black organizations have done, though, and that they've taken on that mantra. And you and I had this discussion earlier. They've taken on that mantra of people of color.
Right.
That mantra has nothing to do with you. Once somebody says that, your whole argument or your whole case gets thrown out because you're not people of color.
And they can't distinguish who is, right? And who is not.
Right. Well, that's why they do that. They establish that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They establish that to erase that, to kind of blur the lines. When your lines get blurred, that means that we've just erased it. We've just erased it. If you take your name, you write it down, and then you see it there. You write it in pencil, and then you erase it. Okay, well, it was there. I can see remnants of it, but it's gone. Right?
Yep. And so I want you guys to view paragraph 23 as the operating logic of the entire movement, right? That's the operating logic of the entire movement. Collective claims, dissolve the individual claims, erase the people that are actually the victims.
So that means that what this does is that not only can the Polish get it, but Elon Musk can claim, because he's African. He said that he's more African than the African Americans. He said that on record. You can Google that. But Elon Musk can claim when his SpaceX goes to the toilet and his IPO is worth zero, he can claim that, hey, I was harmed because I'm an African and they didn't buy my stock, so they didn't buy SpaceX. So I want to claim 500 billion, and these foolish Ghanaians will give it to him.
And then we could go right on to the next. She said reverse the paper back there. We can go right on to paragraph 24. I'm sorry, paragraph 24, right? We affirm sovereignty as the inalienable and inherent rights of all peoples, and affirm that the collective future of Africans and people of African descent. Now, last time I checked, we're still in the land of our captivity and ain't got no continent. And other scattered people that are part of the 12 tribes are too.
Yep. So,
like, what are you saying here, right? The collective future of what? Okay. Including those in settler colonial states is dependent on equity, justice, and sovereignty.
Before you go any further, I got a question. And I'm going to let you rock out. And this is a question to you and to the chat. When the father sees this wicked foolishness, does he get angry or does he laugh when he sees this?
Both.
Kind of stuff? Okay. Both. Right? How me and my wife had a conversation. Is it both BOF?
Yes.
Or both BOTH?
No,
as
a matter of fact, I'm gonna put BOF and I'm gonna put a hyphen in between that, and I'm gonna put EM on it. Both of them.
Okay, because my wife and I had a conversation about this just a couple of days ago, and we sit and laugh about it. I wish she could join.
I had no problem admitting that I speak Black English.
No,
fluently.
She said she speaks Black English. No, is it BOF?
Both
or
of
is it BOTH? Both of them.
Depending on what part of the US you in. Okay, let's ask the audience.
Audience, which is it? Y'all that's watching. Is it both of them?
So
It's both of them. Yeah.
and it might depend on the situation, how fast we can get it out of our mouth, right? There we go. My local California resident said both of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
both of them.
we
That's
missing
right.
a syllable and don't even care. You understand
right.
what we saying, right?
That's right. I had to say that because I'm gonna bring this when her and I have conversations. It's typically pretty funny, and we'll both be cracking up at it. So I had to mention that.
Nah, that's a funny thing because you know what's even funnier is that the identity thieves like to say we have no culture, but they so do. Look, see, he knows.
Smitty, where you been at, bro?
Both.
Smitty Q, what's up? What's going on, brother? Hey, yeah, it's both.
Yeah,
but he says BOFF, so we gotta
That's
figure
fine,
out
too.
the right spelling, y'all.
Nah,
y'all
we don't
doing
need
this
no
ebonics,
spelling.
you gotta have the proper spelling.
We don't need no proper spelling. We make our own rules. Okay,
shit.
both of them, both, whatever you want to say, and that's okay because we understand what we're saying. And it's funny because I see this attempt of mimicking Black English, and it always falls flat on its face, right? From the same people that say that we don't have a culture, but they trying to speak Black English.
let me tell you this right now. If you look at all your TV commercials, you look at all your television shows, who is they trying to eat, drink, sleep, sound like, look
Mimic.
like, what's cool? The foundational Black American here in the United States has impacted the cultures worldwide. And you a liar if you say we haven't. We done created every musical genre. What's cool and what's swaggy is what we do. And then it gets permeated throughout the whole earth, point blank, period.
Whenever I see all of this mimicking of behavior, I can only think of one thing that exists in nature, and that's like a parasite. Okay, like when I see the mimicking and the theft and all of the things, like to attach and align yourself to someone to try to suck the life out of them and everything that they have, that's parasitic behavior. I'm just gonna call it what I see it as.
100%. I mean, look at K-pop, for instance. K-pop, Korean pop. Well, and they'll tell you, hey, the only thing we doing is we cosplaying Black people on stuff that they put down. And see, it's a blessing and a curse, you Israelites. And here's why I say this, and I've mentioned this before. You guys will create a music genre and say, okay, I'm tired, I'm bored with it. I need to go create something else. And then after you've done that, people will look around, they'll look at each other, back and forth with each other and say, okay, they're going to abandon that. We're going to pick it up, and we're going to take it, and we're going to rock it out, and we're going to make billions from it, trillions from it. That's a blessing and a curse because y'all are so creative and that people want to leech on. They mad that you closing ranks because they're saying, okay, they're going to gatekeep and we no longer going to have access to liquid money. Now y'all know who liquid money is, right? For those of you who have been watching the channel, liquid money is who? Who is liquid money on the earth? It's you. Because every time they see y'all, they want to latch on and shake every nickel out of your pocket.
Because
you are
have
liquid money. Go ahead.
The gift of multiplication. Remember, Pharaoh said,
yes,
the more that it said after Pharaoh oppresses, the more that they oppressed them, the more they multiplied and grew.
No, stop right there. Stop right there.
People realize the formula.
Hold on. Now, sis, layer what you just said onto today, please. Because what is Pharaoh trying to do? And you have a phenomena every time Pharaoh or Trump or the Orange Julius Caesar does something. What do Black people do? They typically be like, "Oh, we don't give a damn. So what?" That's the same attitude our people had back then. It had to be the same.
Right.
Because nobody ain't jumping out the window. Trump say this, Trump do that, PXF do this, PXF do that. That other wicked bastard Miller, he does what he do. They whole cabinet could say what they want to say. And you ain't got not now Black person jumping out the window. Why? Why are y'all so they wondered about the strangeness of your comments. They asking right now, well, why are Black people so goddamn calm, Bill? Because goddamn it, Trump is doing all of this stuff to them, and they're not jumping out the goddamn window and they're not doing any. Bill, Pete, what's going on with these niggers? We got to see what's going on because they're not getting upset. God damn it, and they should be.
They want us to be upset and act out so that causes multiplication and growth. People haven't looked at it that way, right? You look at what during the eras of the most, like, let's talk about dogs and hoses being sicked on people and hosed down. Mm-hmm. What happened right after that? Multiplication and growth that they were able to benefit from. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you just got to understand the formula. The more that they try to oppress us, the more we multiply and grow. Right. And that's the expectation that they have. And that's why they're shocked by our change in being emotionally reactive. And that's why they're concerned about what is it that they're actually going to do next. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Because we needed multiplication and growth. Mm-hmm. Our economy is starting to fail. Everything mm-hmm. that we put our hands to seems to just crumble, and we need them to multiply and grow our stuff.
Is the chat familiar with the boycott against Asian stores and what kind of flex that really was? That was really a flex, mm-hmm. and that was a flex on just showing you how powerful not only liquid money is. Y'all know who liquid money is. Y'all don't pretend and y'all ain't been saved all your life, but it just proves the power that we really truly have, and we haven't been operating in that power whatsoever.
Right. And so I know it's getting, long, so we're probably going to wrap this up and continue next week. But again, in the wise sayings or wise teachings, otherwise known as Proverbs 30, right, and 15, the leech has 2 daughters. Give and give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 that never say enough: the grave, the barren woman, the earth that is never satisfied with water, and fire that never says enough. Right? Yes. And so when I talk about parasitic behavior, you have to look at, it's like this document is one that is attempting to superimpose a framework onto us so that we can then produce more for the benefit of the others. We have to reject it. Okay. So I want to finish the sentence, if we can, in paragraph 24. And you see, it says, we further affirm our freedom to govern, create, produce, and develop according to our aspirations and interests, free from external dominations and conditionalities. Okay. Notice the framing. The descendants of U.S. chattel slavery are in America. Are being described as living in a settler colonial state. The same category used for places like Kenya or Algeria under European occupation. That's not exactly our history, right? Because obviously we haven't been able to provide our evidence, experience, and be on the record. Brother C, you said that in the beginning, there were people that were sent here by ship and there were some that were already here.
Yep. Okay.
There's no place on earth that we haven't traveled. If you read from the beginning, then you would know the pathways of Abraham through, Adam to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You would understand, and you would note that, yes, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob are the ones that are a part of the covenant, but they got siblings too.
Yes.
Okay. So, to say that there's only one place and there's only one thing that happened during 1 year is a lie. And that's why I don't like with the framing of just 1 year this happened without looking at the entire wave of things that happened over a period of time. So be mindful of that, right? And all of this is being stated by people that haven't even rectified what they did to descendants of chattel slavery. Okay. Our ancestors were not only colonized by foreign entities on foreign soil and scattered, but they were also indigenous too. Now, when they talk about indigeneity, did they specify who they were talking about? Because from my understanding, the people that are actually legally considered indigenous, and some people call them Mongolians, other people call them Siberians, say what you will. They have a blood quantum process that doesn't even involve blood tests. As a matter of fact, you can't even do DNA or demand DNA from Native Americans. Okay. So you see where if they're already declared indigenous, they can say, well, we deserve reparations too. Because you guys put that title in there without having any definition or any conditions that were set to prove that this is who you are.
I'm looking at 25, and I think we are, if we have time, and maybe we can continue with this, and then continue with some of the things that are going to be happening behind the scenes, maybe on the next show.
Yeah.
I know that we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes.
Right.
Can we continue on?
I don't want nobody falling off the wall, brother. See.
Well, no, and yeah. Okay, so the information that they getting on here is worth billions of dollars, easily worth trillions, right?
Absolutely.
And when I use the term billion, okay, so just to give you a frame of mind, when I'm talking about billion, when I'm talking about a billion, I'm talking about that to an individual, and I'm not talking about that to a group. I'm talking about that. Smitty. Okay, so I'll use Smitty, my brother.
He said the boycott is a new thriller in Manila.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that up. And so listen, and that's Smitty, you wrong for that. You need to get saved. You need to get saved, but that's okay. Hey, listen. So when I speak in terms of billions, I'm speaking in terms of an individual having that kind of capability at their fingertips. Okay, so if the whole house each had $1 billion at their disposal, right? That's how I'm thinking, right? And then ultimately that should go to trillions, and then whatever's after that. But for instance, if I'm thinking about Smitty is worth or has at his disposal $1 billion, 2 or 3 or 4. That's where my mind is thinking. My mind is not thinking on thousands or even millions at this point. And my thinking has been at this level for a long time, right? Since, we could say 1991 or 2-ish, before a lot of you were even born. So I say all that to say we have to stop thinking in terms of small things. Keep it in perspective though, and then allow the Father to show you, okay, how do I get from point A to point B to point C? Because where I sit right now, between this $1 billion thing that you're talking about, brother, see, there's a lot in between that. There's a chasm in between that. So now that's a conversation between you and the Father on how you get to that. But this hour, your thinking should not be small. Your thinking should be huge. Your thinking should be so big that it should occur to you that, hey, this is the greater work that Mashiach was talking about. Because they're related. The work that you do, the work that the sister is doing, the work that I'm doing is the greater work. Point blank. And it's manifesting itself on the earth. How can you say it's manifesting itself? It's manifesting because these people are moving at breakneck speed that they never moved before. Had we not put a fly in the ointment, these people wouldn't be talking about shared principle values and doing any of this. No, they would have had a dinner, and then that would have been it. Point blank. They would have had dinners, and they would have said, oh, we discussed this 5 years ago, and we haven't done anything about it like the Boule typically does. But there will be no traction, no movement. But because of the work that has been done by a handful of people, they're like, okay, we better move quickly before these FBAs catch on that we're whooping their ass with this pen. Oh, and that the sisters whooping their ass with the pen, putting belt to ass.
How you spell whooping? Put it in the chat. No.
See, you better stop. Now
It
you need to get
depends on
saved.
where you at. Some people say whooping, whipping. Hey,
Yeah, no.
whatever. We know what we saying. We know what we saying.
It gets probably WHOOP or WHUP.
Hey,
PIN.
some people
Could go
do
like that.
WOO. You never know. All right, so
See, he got to spell it right. That's how I would spell it.
is he on the West Coast? Is he on the West Coast? He
No,
might be
I don't
biased.
think Smitty on the West Coast. Smitty ain't from the West, but that's my brother. That's been my brother for a minute.
All right.
It's good seeing you, bro. It's good seeing you. But look at this though. Look at Queen in heaven. I see you. And quite frankly, I love my brothers from the South. I love my brothers from all over the continental United States. But look at this comment right here, because this is the thinking we quadrillion, because quite frankly, we have fueled not only the Western construct, not only how the West is moving, we have been the fuel behind China's rise. Why? Because if you take 1.8 or $2 trillion of GDP of liquid money, that's why I call y'all liquid money. But you take liquid money, and if liquid money had the spending power of, let's say, 1.8, 2 trillion a year annually, who recognizes that? China recognizes that. China recognizes that, hey, the United States can't fulfill this because they don't make nothing. Why don't we funnel all of our trinkets, our shiny objects and things, and put them on Amazon, which Brother Cleo, they know Brother Cleo is addicted to Amazon. So why don't we put these trinkets on Amazon and sell them to you on Amazon? And then you can buy all the trinkets that you want. And we can get that liquid money. We can get that money out of you, Brother Cleo. We gonna turn your silly ass upside down and shake all the nickels out of you, Brother Cleo, because we know that you're addicted to Amazon. And that's what they do. So if you're thinking like Queen in heaven is thinking, or Queen in heaven, I take that as being Queen in heaven. But if you take that and you take the mindset of, okay, we're liquid money, the whole earth revolves and is centered around us. Everything that we do has life-lasting impacts on the whole earth. Then that means that we're important. So if that means that we're important, that means that, hey, you know what? We need to guard ourselves with not only our mind, not only our dollars, but we need to be, anytime we say something, careful about what we say and think. Why? Because there's power when an Israelite does something on this earth. We're the only ones that can decode the book, so there must be some power in what we do and how we move. Stop playing with us.
Yep.
Now, some of us know this. Some of us know that, hey, we got power. When we say something, it's going to be loosed in the spirit, and it's going to manifest itself here on the earth. That's why them floods happened in Ghana. One of y'all did that. I'm going to tell you point blank. One of y'all did that.
I already done told y'all I'm the fire starter, so don't be asking me about no flooding.
Okay, and I was asked, did I do it? I said no, but I'll say this though, that heat wave. I say this. I'm gonna say this point blank, and this was what I was doing when the storms was hitting. We had them hurricanes that year in the United States. I was hoping and praying that they would go and hit Europe. And me and you talked about this a while back. I was hoping and praying that. So now, when they say that the heat wave is hitting Europe, I would imagine that some of our people probably have been praying that Europe get destroyed, and that the people in that land get destroyed. Please believe me, I have been. And they got me on record of saying, and now you got me on record of saying it in the open air yet again. It's not, but this ain't nothing new for me, because this is where I've always been. Point blank. We'll be a blessing. We'll be a blessing to the nations, and we'll also be a curse to them also at the same time. Point blank. And it's not them fake people that's over there in that land, because we know that they the imposters. The Balfour Declaration is not the people of the book, so stop it. Stop cosplaying us.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're a blessing to the nations, but we don't benefit off of the blessing because they want to oppress us so that we will multiply and grow, that ain't a righteous blessing. Yes,
because they recognize, Smitty, they recognize that, but then they recognize this. Hey, what we've been saying for a long time now: those who control the Israelites control the earth. Those who control the Israelites control the gold. Those who control the gold make the rules. That's how it go. The Israelites put China in power. Why? Because China recognized that, hey, the spending power of the Israelites in the continental United States is $2 trillion. We want in on that.
That's why you hear them talking about infrastructure and development, right? Because if your region needs to be developed, then that's what you're going for.
You should be able to do that yourself, though. You shouldn't need France. France was a part of this hocus pocus meeting right here. You wouldn't need France to be there. Why the hell you got that wicked bastard there? Macron. Why is he there?
Obviously. Right? So, we got to think about who's being puppeteered and who are the puppet masters.
I tell you what, the most powerful people on the earth right now is them Israelites that's the hidden ones that's in the United States of America. And I'm not saying that we wasn't dispersed, because 51% went into Brazil. I'm saying this: you got the people that was here that's still here, the ones that was left, the remnant. And Dr. Gary bloodline is that remnant that I'm talking about. And he know what I'm talking about. You got them, and then you got them that came over on transatlantics. Those people are some of the most powerful people on the globe. They the hidden ones. How can I say that? Well, you impact the whole earth anytime you say and do something. Point blank. And I'm not making this up, and this ain't me saying it. This is the book saying it. You're the most powerful people on the globe. Everything that happened on the earth happened because of y'all. Do you think that Iran doing the Father's work right now is because of who?
Brother, see how you
once and for all show that them not the people of the book. Go ahead.
How you spell y'all?
So now you started to be like her. Listen,
I'm messing with we gotta at least laugh while we do this,
Well, it depends on where you from, because y'all could be spelled YAW, YALL. I would probably say y'all would be YAW. That's how I would spell y'all.
And are we actually calling on y'all? But they done heard it.
Well, see now, okay, so now there you go. So now you making everything spiritual.
You
spiritualizing it. That's how some niggas will be. The niggas that say church going, oh, now you being overly spiritual. When the Father say, seek ye first the kingdom of the Father and his righteousness. His righteousness is what? His righteousness is LSC. Don't let nobody ever tell you anything different. The Father's righteousness is his law, statutes, and commandments that he gave his people. Period. Go ahead.
No, we're going to wrap this up for this time.
Yeah. Wrap up. Do y'all want us to come back with this again? I think we should come back and finish this document, because this document is real. But here's what I'm going to do, fam. I done put the link into the document, and I'm going to put it in again. I'm going to drop the link in for you guys. And then what I'm going to also do is, if they allow me, if I don't jiggle the wires on myself, I'm going to also take y'all back to the site.
Now, I want people, before you go back, okay.
I'm going to take y'all back to the site. Go ahead, sis.
I was going to give y'all a homework assignment, okay? For those of you that are studious and want to read that document of your own that he put into the site, I want you to read paragraph 25, because that's where we left off of. And I want you to look up the international law doctrine of satisfaction. Okay. And I want you to be thinking about, is this even a reparation? Is this even a legal remedy to the harm that was caused? Once you find out what the international law doctrine of satisfaction is, look up paragraph 25. If you do this on your own, and then we're going to talk about that when we come back here next week.
Okay, so those of y'all see y'all got some homework now. And so you've been given a homework assignment. And so I want y'all to be prepared. Go ahead and study up on it now, bone up on it now. So because Wednesday going to be here real fast, and y'all going to be like, well, the teacher gave me this homework assignment a week ago, and then you wait till Wednesday to try to get it done. Go ahead and take the time and look it up now, so that when we come across it again next week, you'll be ready to dialogue and talk about it. And then you'll know more about it than I will, because I'll be the one that wait 5 minutes before the stream start to look it up.
And please go to the website. That's all right. We got people that cram for tests and they pass. Go to the website. You will find the solutions. And this is not one of those, things where we put up a paywall like, okay, you gotta now go to the website, and if you want to be a part of the conversation, pay $2.99. No, go to the website, go through the documents. The community submission is one of those. You will find solutions. Okay.
You getting that free good game here, that free game that only you can get from the Father. So we're gonna end and close out. We're gonna set up and we're gonna come back again. Same bad time, same bad channel, unless something else comes up. And this has been another Salt of the Earth production.